Hey y'all, welcome to Fuel Up Wellness. If you are new here, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you somehow sliding over to our little corner of the internet here. And if you've been here for a while, you know I appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming back. This week, we have a very simple recipe, which I do those quite often if you haven't caught the drift yet. But we're gonna do a very lean turkey meatloaf tonight. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not a super big fan of the traditional meatloaf that everybody's grandmother or mom used to make a long, long time ago when we were kids. I have my own little take on it, and it's one of my favorites. So we're gonna do a ground turkey meatloaf that's gonna take just a couple of seconds to throw together. And then we're also going to use these steam in a bag Brussel sprouts from Aldi. And I'm not gonna steam them in a bag, I'm actually gonna roast these, because there's nothing better than a nice crispy Brussels sprout, am I right? So let's get started with this recipe. I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, please like and subscribe, share it with a friend, and go ahead and register, or not register, but subscribe to our newsletter on our website. I will put the website somewhere here on the screen so that you can find it, and as soon as you go to the website, the link will come up for you to subscribe to our newsletter. It goes out every Sunday. Let's get to cooking, y'all. Before I do anything, I wanna share with you our ingredients really quickly. So the first thing I wanna show you is our ground turkey. Everything that I have today, for the most part, came from Aldi. Some of it came from Walmart, some of it came from Publix, but the majority, I would say, came from Aldi. So our ground turkey came from Aldi this week. It's 99% fat-free ground turkey, and this is what I'm using, just 1 pound of this. If you're feeding more than a family of 3 to 4, I would say maybe grab 2 of these, but there's only just my husband and I, so we're gonna stick with that. So we've got 1 pound of ground turkey. I've also got, this is my tub of oats, but this is Bob's Red Mill Rolled Oats, gluten-free oats. I have a gluten intolerant, so I try to stick with something that is very gluten-free, and I love Bob's Red Mill. All of their products and food is really good. So that's what I've got for oats. I also have some smoked paprika. This actually came from Trader Joe's, but you can get this at any grocery store. Smoked paprika. I've got some ground black peppercorn. We've got some pink Himalayan salt, organic. This is tamari, I think is how you say it. Gluten-free soy sauce. I also like Bragg's liquid aminos or coconut aminos, but this is what we have on hand right now. We also have some Bragg's, but this is gluten-free, so again, a really good thing to have. I've got some onion powder. We've got a little bit of olive oil spray, so we can spray our dish down. And then I had these left over from a recipe that I did a while back, and these don't go bad for a very long time, so I didn't have many left. I wanted to go ahead and use them. So we've got some dried cranberries, organic dried cranberries, and I'm gonna toss in, give it like a little Thanksgiving shenanigans taste. You know where I'm going with that. And then of course we've got our Brussels sprouts, and I'm gonna slice these. We're gonna roast these in the oven. So everything is gonna be either in our dish. I have a bread dish because I bake homemade sourdough bread, just like my grandmother did all my life. So I have these dishes that came from her, and I'm gonna do my, where's my brain? I'm gonna use that for our meatloaf, and then I'm gonna use a cookie sheet with a little bit of tin foil over the top, line it and spray it down with a little bit of olive oil or avocado oil, I like both, for roasting our Brussels sprouts. So 2 dishes for this entire recipe, and that's it. So let's get started. We're gonna whip up the not the roast beef. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. We're gonna whip up why do I want to call this a roast beef? Why do I want to call this a roast beef? It doesn't make sense. We're gonna whip up this first, then we will do our Brussels sprouts. Now let's get started before I lose my words. Anyway. All right, so here's how this is gonna go. I'm gonna take out the turkey meat, or ground turkey meat first, and I'm gonna plop that into a mixing bowl. If you wanna keep dishes down even lower, then just use the dish that you're gonna bake in, but I decided this might be a little bit more efficient for me right now. I'm gonna put about a teaspoon of onion powder. Just put it right on in there. And I don't measure anything. If this is your first time around here, you will probably be like, why should I measure anything? I don't typically measure. I kind of cook like my grandmother. So about 2 to 3 turns of pink Himalayan salt. I'm gonna do the same thing, 2 to 3 turns of this black pepper. Might need a little bit more because that's coming out not as heavy as I thought it was going to. All right, then I'm gonna use 2 teaspoons of our smoked paprika. Let me get that open. I like to use this with a lot of different things because it just, that smoked paprika over just standard paprika, I feel like just makes all the difference in the world. Then I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of this liquid aminos, and that's about all that's left in this container. So go ahead and add all of that in there. And then I know you're wondering, what in the world do we have oats? If you're not super familiar with using ground turkey for things like this in a meatloaf, it doesn't always turn out really great if you just do it with your spices and things like that. So I like to add about 1/4 cup of rolled oats just to let it hold on to it. You're not gonna taste a whole lot of oats. It's just a preference that I have, and one of the best ways that I like to do this, because let's be honest, you can mix this up with a spatula if you want to, but the best way to do this is with your hands. So before I get my hands dirty in that, I'm gonna go ahead and spray our dish down, just like that on all sides. Make sure it's nice and coated because you don't want it to be hard to get out of there once it's completely cooked. Set that to the side for a second, and then I'm just gonna use my hands to mash this all together. My hands are clean. I'm gonna get the oats incorporated into every little spick and speck of this. That's all folded in. You see how well it holds together? If you just did that just with spices, it would fall apart. Sorry about the noise. It would fall apart. So you wanna make sure that you get that nice and incorporated with the oats. Everything goes well together. Let's grab the spinach and then we'll finish this up. All right, so this is what I'm using, this organic, let me move that. It's this organic baby spinach. This also came from Aldi as well. And I only have a little bit left, and that's about what I wanted to use, so might as well use the whole thing. And the same thing I'm gonna do here is just fold it in the best that I can. And as you squeeze it, you kind of want to break up the spinach. If you want to chop the spinach, you can, but if you just want to save a step, I don't think it's 100% necessary if that's not something that you're really interested in doing. All right, so we got everything all incorporated, and I'm just gonna scoop it out, and you see there's nothing left in the bowl. Everything went into it very well, and I'm just gonna plop it down, kind of use my hands. Remember, it's already sprayed down, so it's gonna kind of work with us a little bit. It's not gonna stick to the sides. And I like to use my hands and my knuckles just to make sure that it's all gonna go in there pretty well. If you see any spinach just sticking out in extra places, just push it on down in there and even it out. And I'm sure you already heard just a second ago, our oven is set to 375, so it just went off, it's ready to go. So I recommend go ahead and setting your oven before you start mixing your roast, listen to me, I'm still calling it a roast, your meatloaf up. So that way, once it's all done and you've gotten to this point, you're ready to pop it into the oven. So it doesn't look super glamorous, but it's gonna be super delicious. So we're gonna pop this into a 375-degree oven for about 20-25 minutes. We'll check it and see how it goes, but 20-25 minutes and it should be done. Then I'm gonna go wash my hands. I don't talk about this a whole lot. I kind of just hint at it a little at a time, but one of the things I love to do anytime that I cook is I have a little bowl sitting next to me or something that I've already cooked with and that it's empty, some sort of container, and I like to keep it beside me. Why do I do that? Because it's like a little trash bin. Clean up as you cook. It's gonna make your cleanup process after your meal is already done or after all the prep work is done and it's in the oven, it's gonna take your cleaning time down exponentially. Not only that, but it's gonna be a lot more hassle-free on you. Anytime you can take a little stress out of your daily chores like cooking, cleaning, take that extra step and help yourself out a little bit. All right, so now I'm gonna clean up a little bit of what I have out on the counters, like spices and things, because I don't need those. We're gonna put those up, and then we're gonna start on our Brussels sprouts and get those ready to go in the oven as well. And they're gonna go right on top, the next shelf above our roast, as I keep calling it, our meatloaf. And then everything's in the oven. We can sit back, relax until dinner's ready to eat. Why can I not get my words out today? I am so sorry, y'all. Now, you're sitting a little crooked, but you know what? This is real life around here. We're not trying to be perfect, right? So I've got all of our ingredients. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything set up. So I just took the same bowl that I mixed the meatloaf in, the turkey in, washed it out really well. So I'm using that same bowl, and I'm gonna take our Brussels sprouts out. We're gonna put those on a cutting board. Got a little baby cutting board here. I'm gonna use this, and we're gonna cut these asparagus Brussels sprouts. I think maybe I need a nap today. I don't know what I'm cooking with. I don't know my words. Take a breath, take a breath, take a breath. Let's try this again. Okie dokie, so I've got a small cutting board here. I've got my Brussels sprouts that I'm gonna take out. Remember, I'm not gonna steam these in the bag, even though they state that they're steamed in a bag. I'm gonna cut them in half, and these are pretty large. I mean, pretty good size little Brussels sprouts. So I'm gonna cut those in half. I took the same bowl that I cooked, or that I mixed the meatloaf with the turkey in, washed it out really well so that I can use the same dishes. I don't have to mess up anymore. I've got our cranberries that I'm gonna use as well, some ground black pepper, as well as some avocado or olive oil, whichever one you prefer. I have both. This is the first one I grabbed, so we're gonna use that because it works either way. All right, so I'm gonna put you down. I'm gonna speed it up, show you kind of the process because it's pretty self-explanatory, and we'll get that done, put it in the oven, and then we can relax and just chill until it's ready. Looks like it might be done. Our timer just went off, so we're gonna give it a little check. And it definitely looks like it's done, but we have a meat thermometer. I mean, you always wanna be sure. You don't wanna overthink, and make sure it's done completely is the most important thing. You don't wanna get sick off of things like this. So we're gonna try to reach 165. This is an instant thermometer. Looks like we're getting up there. So what I'm gonna do in the meantime, yeah, we're there. All right, so I'm gonna take my heat from 375 now, and I'm gonna take it up to 400 degrees and take my Brussels that I already had in here. I'm gonna put those on the bottom rack at 400 degrees, and I'm gonna give them about another 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna keep an eye on them because I want that nice brown char around the outside to get them slightly crispy on the outside, but I don't want it to be in there too long to where they burn. So, all right, this is done. We're gonna let it cool down while we wait on our Brussels sprouts. All right, dinner's ready. Check out our Brussels sprouts. They're nice and charred, but not, you know, burnt. They look really good. They smell delicious also. And then our meatloaf, I'll show you what it looks like all cut up. But one thing I want to make sure that you know, yet again, is make sure that you have a meat thermometer. You check it out. Make sure your ground turkey, if you're using ground turkey, gets to 165. Same as if you were cooking chicken. So we're gonna serve this up, get ready to eat some dinner, and I'll show you what it looks like plated. Dinner. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Super simple, takes little to no time. My entire kitchen is clean. The only thing I have to clean now is the 2 dishes that I cooked on, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Have a great rest of your weekend and come back for more. We'll have more next week. Fuel up.